Hare Krishna, dear devotees, convert pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. I'm so sorry for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. We'll move on to the next part of the session, that is Chaitanya Bhagavat class. May I know who all have joined the call?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna Yeshomati Priya Mataji, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving your association, Mataji. And thank you so much for chanting so beautifully today.
Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Dandvat Pranams Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, and all glories to all the assembled devotees. This is Kiran Goyal from Baltimore. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Kiran Goyal Mataji, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving your association today, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the assembled devotees. This is Flavia from Georgia.
Hare Krishna Flavia Mataji, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call every day and giving your association to us, Mataji.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat pranams to you and all the devotees on this call. Glory, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sumi from Chennai, India.
Hare Krishna Sumi Mataji, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining so regularly and giving your association to us, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining so regularly and giving your association to us, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dharshini Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving your association to us, Mataji, and all glories to your services.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirti Das and Haridas.
Hare Krishna Kirti Sundari Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for joining the call and giving your association to us, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandvat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. I welcome all of you to the mid-morning call in Bhakti Sanga Japa group, which will be based on Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. I would like to go ahead with Srila Prabhupada's quote for today. Sometimes when Radharani would go out, Krishna would attack her, and when she would fall down, Krishna, don't torture me in that way. They would fall down, and Krishna would take the opportunity and kiss her. Radharani was very pleased, but superficially Krishna was the greatest rascal. Unless rascaldom is in Krishna, how could rascaldom be existent in this world? Our formula of God is that He is the source of everything, but His rascaldom is so nice that everyone worships His rascaldom. Mayapur, February 27th, 1972. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I once again welcome all of you to Bhakti Sanga Japa conference call, mid-morning call, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, and today's class will be given by His Grace Rāmagiridhāri Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. We are very grateful to you for joining the call and taking over the call and enlightening us on the topic of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya khanda, chapter 8, verses 214 to 226. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thank you so much. So, we'll start with our invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. So we will read the verses from 2:14 through 2:26 of Madhya Khanda, chapter 8. Dasya Bhave Nache Prabhu Shri Gaura Sundara. Chaudi ke Kirtana Dwani Ati Manoharam. Lord Shri Gaura Sundara danced in the mood of a servant as the enchanting sound of Kirtana vibrated in 4 directions. Sunite Sunite Kshane Haya Murachita Trinakare Takane Advaita Upanita. While listening to the Kirtana, Advaita Acharya sometimes lost consciousness. He took straw in his hands and approached the Lord. Apadha Apadamastaka Trine Nichya Layanjya Nijam Shiretu Yinache Brukuti Kariyam. He covered his entire body with grass and kept some on his head as he frowned while dancing. Text 217. Advaitera Bhakti Dheki Sabhara Tarasa Nityananda Gadadara Duhi Jane Hasa. Everyone was frightened on seeing Advaita Acharya's devotional service, but Nityananda and Gadadara simply laughed. Text 218. Nache Prabhu Gaura Chandara Jagat Jivana Avesharam Anta Nahi Haya Gane Ganam. In this way, Sri Gaura Sundara, the life of the entire universe, danced. He repeatedly expressed unlimited varieties of moods. Text 219. Yaha nahi deki shuni Shri Bhagavate Hena Sabha Vikara Prakashe Sachi Sute. The son of Sachi manifested many wonderful transformations of ecstatic love that are not found or heard of in Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 220. Kshane Kshane Sarva Anga Haya Stambhakriti tilardika no naite nahika shakati. Sometimes his entire body was stunned in such a way that no one could even slightly bend his body. Text 221. Sei anga kshane kshane hena matahayam asti matra nahiyena navanita mayam. Sometimes that same body became slackened in such a way that it became as soft as butter without any bones. Text 222. Kakono dekiye anga gunaduitinam kakano swabhave haite atishayakshinam. Sometimes his body appeared to double or triple in size, and sometimes it appeared to shrink. Text 223. Kakhano va matta ena tuli tuli yaya hashiya dola tuli tuli yaya hashiya dolaya anga ananda shadhayam. Sometimes he was intoxicated in such a way that he tottered like a drunkard, and sometimes he swayed back and forth while laughing. Text 224. Sakala Vaishnave Prabhu Dheki Eke Eke Baba Veshe Purva Nama Dhari Dhari Dhake. Seeing all the Vaishnavas, the Lord called each of them by the name they bore in their previous birth. Text 225. Haladara Shiva Shuka Narada Prahlada Rama Aja Uddhava Baliya Karenada. He loudly addressed them. Haladara, Shiva, Sukadeva, Narada, Prahlada, Rama, Aja, Uddhava. Text 226. Yei mata sabha deki nana mata bhale eva yei vastutaha prakasha ye chale. In this way, the Lord reveals their actual identities by speaking about them in various ways. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedhantam Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are discussing about the Supreme Lord's transcendental exhibition of ecstatic symptoms. Whilst most of them that we read, I can't comprehend with my conditioned brain and personality. I just want to still attempt to glorify and churn some nectar from this portion that we read today. The context is Mahaprabhu is now having his full team assembled for the mission forward. Advaita Acharya is in, Gadadhar Pandit is in, Nityananda Prabhu is in, Srivas Thakur is in. So all the Panchatattva are ready. Over and above that, all the close associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Govinda, Kolavecha Sridhara, Mukunda. So like that, so many, Murari Gupta. So the Lord's Transcendental team is now fully ready. And when the Lord looked at all of them and eventually glorified all of them, before he made it to public, the Lord wanted to have his nocturnal mission, Kirtan, with his dearest associates. It is quite common that when a person is amongst close and confidential associates, close and confidential friends, one will naturally exhibit one's truest self. For example, if one is with his beloved, maybe friend, wife, parents, colleague, in that assembly, in that forum, when no other external elements are there in that forum, only that confidential team is there and the person is with them, even considering a conditioned scenario, a person will be able to freely express, freely reveal, freely function to his truest self. Now, the context here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his manifested Leela, whilst his true identity is not known to many, whilst the true purpose of his incarnation is not known to many, he is now first enjoying his moments before even he is jumping onto the mission. This is not only for self-enjoyment, it is also to benchmark what is the level of ecstasy that this Sankirtan mission can emulate. It is also to inspire his associates that I am ready, so become ready. I am going to commence a special Sankirtan mission, so buckle up. And these nocturnal kirtans are also meant to reveal to those confidential associates that each and every one of them are not some ordinary so-called devotee. Each of them are eternal associates of the Supreme Lord. This is to establish their power, position, and their function in the Sankirtan mission. If you have been following the Chaitanya Bhagavata for the past several sessions, right from the time Nityananda Prabhu came to Navadvip, the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced Nityananda Prabhu to everyone, the way Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced Advaita Charya to everyone, the way Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited every house in Navadvip Dham and revealing his transcendental ecstasy to each and every one of them, reciprocating to their love. The way Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed his true identity in a very subtle manner to Mother Sachi to show her who Krishna Balaram and who Gaur Nitai are through the form of a dream, and eventually told her to keep the dream with herself. So technically speaking, what is currently happening is Mahaprabhu is preparing himself for a missionary mode. And as I said, these three are, a part of preparation, revealing his own identity to all his associates and revealing to his own associates about each other, and trying to make sure that everybody is very well prepared. So before they go out and spread the Sankirtan mission, let them be part of it, enjoy it, and let them understand the benchmark of it. And by performing such transcendental pastimes, the Lord is very well revealing his own true self to these confidential people in a manner by which they are all in unison for taking the Sankirtan mission forward. So these opulences that the Lord is revealing is not being revealed to anyone and everyone. Is being revealed to those confidential associates on whom the Lord has invested all his time, energy, and he is empowering them to spread the Sankirtan mission. If I can draw a parallel to what Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu did 530-40 years before, about what Srila Prabhupada did 50 years before. Srila Prabhupada tried pretty hard in India, both in terms of publishing as well in terms of preaching. Unfortunately, or oblique fortunately, not many showed interest. And fortunately, Srila Prabhupada did not deter and went ahead in moving towards Western countries as per his Guru's order. And when he caught his core team, when he found his boys and girls, those students who are going to be the future leaders and preachers and missionaries, Srila Prabhupada had opened up his heart and first empowered them, revealed to them, and prepared them for spreading the Sankirtan mission. So technically, what Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu did 530 years before, in a manner that the Sankirtan mission got inaugurated in Bharata Bhumi 50 years before, or in fact I would say since the time A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada met His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, this mission got commenced. If I can say this, to glorify even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur worked on it to create a very good ground for Srila Prabhupada, our Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, as well as to his followers, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj has given us a wonderful, a very systematic and a visionary, plan, which unfortunately not every disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj could understand or could take it up. But for Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and also a couple of his god brothers who really took it up, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur thought, what Nityananda Prabhu desired, what Gaurakishore Das Babaji Maharaj wanted, what our divine grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted, our divine Srila Prabhupada had really taken it up and spread it out. So the way Srila Prabhupada inaugurated International Society for Krishna Consciousness was to open his heart to his confidants. So we are going to learn few reflections in this current context and try to learn some lessons for us. The first reflection is about the aspect of surrender versus controller. The Supreme Lord, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, is trying to exhibit his confidential and most private affairs with his dearest associates. There were further more confidential things that Mahaprabhu was eventually, revealing. But up till that point in time, whatever was happening inside Sriva Sangam, that nocturnal Kirtan program, which was creating a lot of suspicion amongst the atheists, the envious, the so-called Shaktas and various other kind of people around Srivas Thakur's house. To an extent, they went and complained to Chand Kasi. So the idea here is that all that was happening inside Srivas Thakur's house, Srivas Angan, is a very important project for spearheading, inaugurating the Sankirtan mission. So the principle of surrender versus controller needs to be applied, understood in this context. By surrendering more, by surrendering completely, by surrendering with love, and by surrendering for love, a devotee control the action, thoughts, and eventually the function of the Supreme Lord. To the extent the Supreme Lord danced to the tunes of his dearest devotees. On the contrary, by somebody being controller, we surrender to our senses, we surrender to our actions of mind, we surrender to our time, we surrender to our external circumstances, and we surrender all our intelligence to this so-called vicious things. So one need to learn to surrender to the controller rather than trying to become a controller thinking that everybody else will surrender unto you. So those of the devotees who chose to surrender to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who chose to glorify Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who chose to love Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and support his mission, who desired that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission be spread all over the universe, Mahaprabhu chose them and he let them control him. Control him to the sense that he was dancing to the tunes and they were all transcendentally exchanging their emotions. The loving relationship amongst them were so wonderful to an extent that people wanted to witness them, but they were, people were so curious to know what was happening inside Srivas Sangam. There are more details in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I'm sure there are more details, in other glorifications of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that how Srivas Sangam happened to be a wonderful spot, a glorious and a pioneering place for the Sankirtan mission to be inaugurated. It's the first place where the Sankirtan mission was started in a nocturnal way, and eventually it was going to go to general public. So my first reflection here is that in our devotional journey, for us to understand, for us to enjoy, for us to get an opportunity to be revealed with so wonderful things which are otherwise kept hidden, we need to learn to surrender. Krishna is telling Arjuna that even if you have not damn understood whatever I said, learn to surrender. In Bhagavad Gita, in various places in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna in different strategies and tone, and different approach, different way. He is encouraging encouraging Arjuna to please surrender to this process. A person who is surrendering to this process of Krishna consciousness, the transcendental nature of this process is revealed to that person. So Krishna consciousness is not something that a person can learn by his or her endeavor. One can theoretically know certain subject matters by one's endeavor, but the purport behind them, the emotions behind them, the sentiment behind them, the consciousness behind them can only be understood when it is revealed. So my first reflection is about, in our journey to Krishna consciousness, as we hear how Mahaprabhu is revealing those confidential emotions which even Srimad Bhagavatam did not touch upon. Why only to them? Because they are surrendered, because they have accepted that they are ready to be part of Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission. And number 3, they have their love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for which they are ready to do anything for Mahaprabhu. So in our own lives, if we subscribe to these, we surrender to Krishna, we tell Krishna that, my dear Lord, I am ready to do anything for you. We surrender to Krishna to be part of his mission, to be part of his plan, to be part of his plan for creating solution to the materialistic problems. I am sure Krishna will reveal his heart. So long as we are arrogant, so long as we are adamant, so long as we are proud, Krishna will not reveal. The very famous story of a thief who heard Bhagavatam, that Srila Prabhupada says, the thief had an opportunity to see Krishna just based on the descriptions of Bhagavata Kathakar. The thief went to Vrindavan and asked for Krishna, searched for Krishna, called out Krishna's name with utmost sincerity, utmost eagerness, may not have utmost clarity on what he would eventually want to do. At least up till that point in time, his clarity was he wanted to steal from Krishna. Because there was eagerness, because there were complete enthusiasm, because there were focus in what he was trying to do, the audience with Krishna transformed his life. Dhruva Maharaj says, when Krishnagarbha appeared in front of Dhruva Maharaj and touched the conch shell on Dhruva Maharaj's forehead, Dhruva Maharaj said, what a stupid I am. All these days I performed the very strong tapasya for some materialistic thing. I thought this power, name, fame, power, position is everything. But now when I see you, my dear Lord, I see all of them as broken pieces of glass, which once I thought as gold and diamond. Aho dukkam maha dukkam dukkha dukkha taram yata kachartam vesmritam ratna harer namaiva kevalam. In Kevalashtakam, it is mentioned, Aho dukkam maha dukkam dukkha dukkha taram yataha kachartam vismritam ratna. It is so sad, in this material world. People are thinking kachartam vismritam ratna, which means broken pieces of glasses are considered as diamond, and the real diamond is treated as broken pieces of glass. So I want to conclude my first reflection by stating that in our journey to Krishna consciousness, for us to be recipient of transcendental mercy, for us to be the recipient of revelation by our superiors on transcendental subject matters, it is not in their hands, it is in our hands. How much we conduct ourselves, how sincere we conduct ourselves, how much we surrender to this process and to our spiritual authorities, that much the knowledge and its associated application will be revealed. That revelation cannot be demanded. In fact, one of the pastimes that happened in Shiva Sanga was, one time there was a person who happened to participate as a spy to find out what was going on inside the Shiva Sanga, because the neighbors were so suspicious that every day in the night after after everybody finishes their evening responsibilities, these devotees used to gather inside Shiva Thakur's house, lock it from inside, and they used to dance to their full heartfelt content. The very first verse that we read today is Caitanya Mahaprabhu danced and danced and danced as the Kirtana sound was reverberating in all the four directions. When we were in Raghava Pandita's house in Panihati few months before, so we were discussing about a very interesting aspect where it is said that Caitanya Mahaprabhu told to Raghava Pandita, my dear Raghava Pandita, take it in writing or take it in, take it as my words. Wherever and whenever 3 or more devotees, they chant and dance for the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When they chant and dance, I will definitely participate. I will be there in that assembly. So if you want the Supreme Lord to be participating, then all we need to do is we just pick up Kartal and Mridanga. Tatai tatai bhajana kol gana gana tahe jajer rol prem dala dala sonaranga charane nu purabaje udila runa purababage Dvijamani Gauramani Jage Bhakata Samuha Loya Sate Gelanagar Braje. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, the early morning time, he is waking up and asking all of us to wake up. That is, of course, after he inaugurated the Sankirtan mission. But right now, the similar mood is done in an internal closed room setup, and along with dancing, he is also exhibiting wonderful transcendental ecstasy, which is completely untouched by materialistic science and knowledge. So my first reflection is to conclude that let us learn to surrender, let us learn to love. Let us learn to commit ourselves to participate in the mission of the Supreme Lord, to be ready to be part of Krishna's plan. Somebody said this, you better be part of Krishna's plan rather than plan to use Krishna for your needs. Because many a times we use the Lord for our needs. We use devotees for our needs. Rather than we let Krishna use us for his plan. Let Krishna engage us to be part of his plan. Let our spiritual master count on us turn his face towards us, give us smile, and include our name in his project, that is the success of our Krishna consciousness. So when we surrender to the Lord wish to be controlled by his dear devotees. To an extent, devotees control the Lord. Control here doesn't mean they are trying to, control in a, in an envious, egoistic manner. Control meaning that the Lord Lord freely open up his heart and there is a free flow of nectar. On the contrary, a person who is trying to be a controller has to surrender his senses, has to surrender his whole self to materialistic things, surrender his mind to materialistic things, which is a royal road for hellish life. The second aspect that I want to talk about is about avyartha kalatvam. Avyartha kalatvam meaning vyartha kalatvam, avyartha kalatvam. Avyartha kalatvam means being free from wasting time. One of the symptoms of a self-realized soul, one of the symptoms of a person who is ecstatically, transcendentally situated is that he has aversion to waste of time. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are verses which are glorifying about the nature of pure devotional service. I will just read, a small portion of it from Caitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 23, text number 18 and 19. Kshantir avyartha kalatvam viraktir mana sunyata asha bandha samutkanta nama ghane sadharuchi ashakti istad gunakhyane pritis tat vasati stale itiyadyo anubhavak shuyur jata bhavankure jane. Translation: when the seed of ecstatic emotion for Krishna fructifies, the following 9 symptoms manifest in one's behavior. The reason I am reading this is for 2 reasons. There are some symptoms that we read today about Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the symptoms that he exhibited amongst his confidential associates. But these symptoms that we are reading now is something that we should be able to comprehend, and we should learn to identify and inculcate in ourselves so that we eventually be able to be the recipient of being revealed when the Lord reveals his pastime. I repeat, by we trying to emulate, understand these qualities that I am going to just read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 23.18 and 19, which are comprehensible to an extent, which in our own humble capacity, one needs to work on them to groom these qualities, which actually manifest and fructify, which actually, start sprouting, but one needs to carefully garden it. Then they will be able to eventually be in the audience of, whatever transcendental exchanges that we read today. So I read the translation again. When the seed of ecstatic emotion for Krishna fructifies, in this case, in our current context, it is already fructified and flower and fruit has already blossomed and everybody is in, transcendental madness. We're going to talk about it in the next reflection. To an extent that Advaita Charya is, is in an uncontrollable state. He's in such a, transcendental, ecstatic, humble state. We'll talk about it in a bit. But these qualities that Rupa Goswami Pad explains as a part of, journey in Krishna consciousness in your bhakti progress. So the following 9 symptoms manifest in one's behavior. Forgiveness. Shantihi. Concern that time should not be wasted. Avyartha kalatvam. Viraktihi. Detachment. Manasunyata. Absence of false prestige. Asha bandha. Hope. Samutkanta. Eagerness. Namagane. A taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord. Ashakti, attachment to descriptions of transcendental qualities of the Lord. And affection for those places where the Lord resides, that is a temple or a holy place like Vrindavan. These are all called anubhava, subordinate signs of ecstatic emotion. They are visible in a person in whose heart the seed of love of God has begun to fructify. As I said in the beginning of the class, I have a limitation in not able to comprehend, explain, dive deep into those emotions that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting, to explain, give an explanation about them, to dive deeper into them. I may not be able to do justice. So that is why I chose something where we can draw a parallel and try to connect and assimilate at my level in my own conditioning, so that there is something that I can take home for my Krishna consciousness. And if it helps you, I consider that as Krishna's blessings. So the idea is, the second reflection here is that when a person is trying to be sincere, as I said, a surrendered soul, a surrendering soul, or not trying to become controller of all that is around you. And the stage of surrender, the stage of developing love for the Lord, the stage of committing oneself for the missionary spirit of the Lord, is the stage where these ecstatic emotion for Krishna fructifies. Our heart had been dry or clogged or covered with dirt because of our ahankar. And that heart becomes cleansed, beautiful, and eventually become an orchid, and eventually become a temple when we learn to surrender. The process of surrender is another topic by itself. But the goal here is that at least in our heart of heart, we choose Krishna as for everything we go to Krishna. We are so mad after the Supreme Lord that for anything and everything we go to Krishna. And you know what? Krishna likes that. Anything and everything to do with devotional service, anything and everything to do with glorifying Krishna and Krishna's dear devotees, if you go to Krishna, he likes them. Not anything and everything for our sense gratification, you go to Krishna, Krishna likes it. So these 9 symptoms, which according to Rupa Goswami, they are subordinate signs of ecstatic emotion, which means they are much earlier stage or a secondary stage or secondary symptoms. The primary symptoms and their own, I'm sure those of you who are studying Bhakti Vaibhava would be studying about different classifications of bhava. Bhava, vibhava, and anubhava, and also, sattvika bhava, and so many other details about them. But the point that I want to drive home is, as practitioners, at least to an extent, we should learn to recognize, or another way, we should learn to inculcate. As I am practicing Krishna consciousness, these symptoms should manifest. If you count yourself as a part of a Krishna conscious family, practicing Krishna consciousness, if these symptoms, none of them are manifesting, we have a lot more things to introspect about. So to conclude my second reflection, that a person who have learned to surrender, like all of those men, all of those wonderful personalities about whom Mahaprabhu is revealing their identity. So it is not only Mahaprabhu is revealing his identity to them, he is also revealing about several wonderful identities, Haladhara, Shiva, Sukha, Uddhava, Aja. So many people he is just revealing them. So when he is revealing them, Narada, Prahlada, he is revealing left, right, center, which otherwise he doesn't do it. Mahaprabhu in a public forum, in Chaitanya Charitamrita we saw, when he was in the assembly of Prakashananda Saraswati, Mahaprabhu was conducting himself completely differently. When he was amongst the Mayavadi scholars, he had a different demeanor. He had, exhibited his different side of him. But when Mahaprabhu is in his, confidential quarters, he has completely different personality. Srila Prabhupada, when he was with his God brothers, when he was in his transcendental self, when he was in his very private forum, he also exhibited some really transcendental, symptoms. But when he was in his roaring preaching, mission, when he was sitting to preach to scientists and scholars and, the general public, he used to roar like a lion. He used to command, he used to explain, he used to establish the transcendental aspect of Krishna consciousness. So one needs to carefully identify this in our heart. We should build in some sense of forgiveness. We should definitely have a sensitivity about the time. Last 2 days had been extremely hectic for me because one of our congregational devotees' son, who was just 13 years young, had left his body today morning. Since yesterday, he was admitted in the hospital, and the entire community of our devotees were in the hospital and trying to somehow help the family and pray and rescue the child. And I mean, I'm not getting the story of that, but the point was that in very short notice, the child developed infection, and it went way beyond control that he had to leave his body. So we were, casually talking about it and saying that how we have taken life so easily, so casually, so sometimes recklessly, sometimes so overconfident as devotees. Knowing that, I have holy name, I have devotees, I have this, I have that. Sometimes we become so familiar in the process. Sometimes we become so impudent to our seniors that we waste a very valuable part of our time in our Krishna consciousness without realizing the danger around us. Which animal is going to attack us at what point in time, we do not know. There are animals sitting within us. There are so many, agents around us, both positive as well as negative. Depends upon how we align ourselves. We will also tune up with those, agents. So my second reflection here is that one needs to learn to associate, to elevate, to introspect and grow up self in Krishna consciousness, so that he will be able to nurture the positive aspects of Krishna consciousness to an extent that he is able to eventually participate in the ecstatic transcendental association of the Supreme Lord. Third and the last reflection in this current context is about what our dearest Advaitacharya did. Advaitacharya, when he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Advaitacharya was the one who was instrumental in having Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to us. So when Advaitacharya, when we all read in the previous chapter how his introduction was done, how he was revealed to everyone, how Sri Advaitacharya, when he understood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Krishna himself, for whom he was praying for 55 years. Now that all of those things are established, Nitai and Chaitanya and Nada, Advaitacharya, they had a wonderful loving exchanges. Now Advaita Acharya is taking the full advantage of it. Advaita Acharya is now enjoying his, as explained in Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, holding straw between his teeth. Not only just teeth. We hear that Krishnadas Kaviraj, Vrindavan Das Thakura is explaining, not only he had a straw between his teeth, he covered his entire body with straw. It's a height of humility. He exhibited that, yes, my Supreme Lord, my Purna Purushottam Bhagavan has come down to fulfill his commitment to deliver the miscreants, to, give us transcendental pleasure. So Advaita Acharya is exhibiting a transcendental humility. And the way he is exhibiting transcendental humility is not by being inactive. He is exhibiting his transcendental humility by being ready to be extremely active to work under the direction of the Supreme Lord, even though he is elder to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in age. Because Advaita Acharya is seen amongst everyone. Advaita Acharya is elder to Jagannath Mishra. Advaita Acharya is very senior, 50 years or 45 plus years senior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But now, to establish the Sankirtan mission, to be part of the Sankirtan mission, to reveal his heart as a humble servant, he is saying that I am ready to be part of your Sankirtan mission. So my third reflection is about the feeling of humility associated with our responsibility. Many a times in my growing days in Krishna consciousness, or even now as a servant leader, I get to see that sometimes humility is seen as a reason for our inactivity or not doing any activity. Thinking that I will do mistakes, I will do something wrong, I will not be able to do it correctly, so let me not even do it. Let me not even be part of it. Let me not even own it up. Our height of humility should be that I am ready to take up responsibility, ready to be accountable, and at the same time give all the credit of success to my predecessors and take all the responsibility for my failures. One of my godbrother was very nicely explaining that the maturity in Krishna consciousness is seen by your ability to take decision for the Sankirtan mission. We were discussing last few weeks about some strategic preaching initiatives. How in this world there are many people who are ready to be followers, but hardly few people are ready to be leaders, who can be leaders. And Mahaprabhu wanted leaders. He knew that in Kali Yuga, followers are easy in a sense. If you are able to present things properly, just see, even for the normal political agenda, there are so many followers. If real, true, transcendental loving devotion is properly presented, why followers will not come? But the need of the hour was more and more leaders are required. Preaching leaders are required. Servant leaders are required. Leaders who are just not, dictators. They are servants. They are somebody who help. So in that connection, we were discussing how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's avatar is in itself an example that he came down as a Bhakta avatar to demonstrate, to apply the principles of Krishna consciousness in a most humble manner. So I was explaining them that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is application avatar. Application avatar meaning one avatar who has not just given only instructions and gone. An avatar who is trying to apply his instruction in his own life, so that we as a practitioners can follow them in our own lives. This is one incarnation who has not just performed some leela and gone. Is one incarnation where he has demonstrated in his life, through his life, helping all of us take up Krishna consciousness. So my third reflection is that how Advaita Acharya is exhibiting a wonderful quality in this assembly of, transcendental emotions that were going on, Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhara Pandit are having transcendental exchanges. Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya are God brothers. So they pull each other's leg. And then sometimes there are loving humor among devotees. But the message here is all of them are extremely humble. They are very much committed to this mission. So my point here I want to drive home is, as a reflection, is that a person in the Sankirtan mission, as he surrenders to the process of Krishna consciousness, giving up the propensity of being controller, inculcating those 9 qualities of symptoms of a practitioner developing transcendental loving emotion, should make sure that his humility, his transcendental qualities are directed towards action, decision, participation, and expansion, not inaction, not that sulking and staying away. Because we need more leaders. Prabhupada needed more leaders. Caitanya Mahaprabhu wanted more leaders. And here leaders word is not about profile. The leaders means more commitment, more inclusion, more participation. And it is something by which we demonstrate our humility. Our spiritual masters, our great, Vaishnavas in our movement, they all are doing great, glorious things. So they look at their humility. By their humility, they are expanding, they are growing, they are inaugurating, they are initiating new strategies for spreading Sankirtan mission. So in our own lives also, we should be able to do that. So these transcendental opulences that Mahaprabhu is revealing, then will become relevant and relatable for all of us. When we are able to exhibit, our commitment, our surrender to this process of Krishna consciousness. So I would like to stop here and say that these are my reflections in this current context of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. So if there are any questions, comments, reflections, I'll be happy to respond. Shri Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai, Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Any questions or comments or reflections, I'll be happy to respond.
Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisance to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the very nice, interesting class, Prabhu. Prabhu, I had a question. I know we might have addressed this multiple times, but just for reaffirmation. So when you were talking about different ecstatic symptoms that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had exhibited, my question is, we also talk about people who are people who are faking the symptoms, and there could also be people who are misunderstanding. Maybe they could be thinking that a true practitioner or a true personality like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, it can be either way. They think that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is faking. Some others may think the person who's faking is real. So how can a neutral person seen from outside distinguish between real and fake, and how do they process it? What are some tips that you would suggest?
I would answer this in three parts. The first part is about what Sanatana Goswami is writing in the introduction to Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So certain subject matters in our devotional lives are actually not meant for a general audience. So from that perspective, till a person develops, reaches some natural inclination to the process of Krishna consciousness, certain subject matters are not dealt with, because we are running some sort of a proving the point agenda. We are trying to learn certain things for our lives. So there are expectations and pre-qualifications needed for somebody to participate certain subject matter and certain context. This is one aspect. I'm not sure practically how this can be done, who should be welcome, not welcome. There are many details that can be worked out, but that's one aspect. The second aspect, because Mahaprabhu chose to do the nocturnal, kirtan and do certain things only because of this reason. There are acharyas who are explicitly making a statement saying that don't come and participate in this if you're not ready for, whatever. So that's the first aspect of it. Second aspect of it is that whenever we talk about certain ecstatic symptoms, and when a general public is reading about it or is exposed to it, it is up to the preacher who is presenting it to articulate and present it in a manner by which they can assimilate. For example, when a small child asks some trivial questions, some very tough questions or something which is suddenly not comprehensible. Sometimes we get to see kids ask questions. How does baby come to this world? I mean, how do you explain to the child? You will have to explain it. What are all certain very adult agendas? Sometimes kids keep asking. So at that time, we cannot say, no, go shoo away, get lost. This is not something that you should know. But the mother tries to very intelligently present it. So it is the need and duty of a preacher. That is why when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his manifested Leela, you will very clearly classify certain things as external Leela meant for general audience, some internal Leela meant for private audience. But private audience, when they are exposed to private Leela exposed to general audience, some of the preachers need to articulate, explain, and try to set a toned down version of whatever they could comprehend as a duty. And the third aspect of it, with respect to the Mahaprabhu's non-comprehensible aspect of it, Hanumat Prashik Maharaj once mentioned in a class in Houston. He said, he, as humorous as he is always, he mentioned that sometimes we can speak certain transcendental subject matter, which are completely out of our comprehension, but still we speak and make people completely confused to make them realize that this subject matter is so wonderful, and so they realize that there is a depth to this. Maybe we don't understand, maybe I don't comment on. And as we just read today, many people commented, critiqued, many people insulted about what was happening inside Srivas Sangam. The current context only that we just read. In fact, in the whole of 8th chapter, when the Lord is revealing his opulences, there were any envious people even then. What was done was they ignored some of those critiques and comments only to the point in time that it became an offense, or they tried to intervene when these atheists, they came and disturbed the Sankirtan mission, or they went to Chandkasi and tried to complain and disrupt the Sankirtan mission. Till that point in time, Mahaprabhu and his associates ignored them. When it came to really what we call as a disturbance to the Sankirtan mission, that's when Mahaprabhu responded back. So I would classify these transcendental emotions and our association with them in these three aspects. I am sure there are some gray areas. There are some areas where a practicing devotee who have not completely matured, but they are halfway through, I guess we need to ask them that hold on to it. As you move forward, you may be able to comprehend. Till that point in time, accept them as absolute statement that we may not be able to comprehend, but at least just keep moving forward. I guess at some point in time we will realize that not everything about Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu we will be able to understand, which itself is an understanding. Am I making some sense, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. So my follow-up, what I'm trying to understand is, like you mentioned, there were many people who were kind of envious. I get that they were envious. They wanted to see Mahaprabhu's private pastimes with his close associates, and they were not allowed. Now, but they would have definitely processed it in their mind in various ways. Okay, this is what, maybe he's just a fake person. He's not genuinely having emotions. He's just probably doing something else and he's fainting and he's showing all these emotions. So now for a common person, like anybody, like you, me, anybody, what is our guidelines to distinguish between a personality who has really developed a symptom, like maybe a very senior practitioner, like on the level of maybe, so for example, take Prabhupada, right? So if Prabhupada suddenly singing Jai Radha Madhava, once he did have tears. So how can we distinguish between a very serious practitioner's emotions and a person who's coming in public and suddenly fainting on the stage or something like that? So what are our guidelines to understand what is real and what is possibly not? Of course, we are not judging, but what are
Very, very trivial and important question. The example of blue jackal that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says, I remember here. There are people who uses the platform of Krishna consciousness to, amateurishly or even, wrongly exhibit some symptoms. The general thumb rule and the, guidelines are that don't talk or don't at least for us, let me put it in for my context what I'm supposed to do so that I don't become such a candidate, which means I always try as much as possible. I try to talk proportionate to my understanding and proportionate to my surrender. I cannot talk about some aspects and subject matters which I have not understood, assimilated, or I'm not able to comprehend. Maybe just heard it from some class and and repeating them. I personally feel it is very risky. I mean, it may help and sometimes it may help to also gain swing in some way or the other. Unless and otherwise we are very careful, we may even flip. So we may even fall down. So personally, what I understand in my 35 years of Krishna consciousness is, every time when that is why Bhagavatam classes are not meant to be just a scholarly treatise. It is meant for sharing our realizations. It is meant for sharing how much you have realized. The more you share what you realized, what you have assimilated, what you are ready to learn a lesson for yourself, the more it will be relatable for the audience. Hanumat Prashang Maharaj once mentioned this, a very nice point. He says, Srila Prabhupada, in his manifested Leela, spoke those things always where the audience would need that subject matter or would be able to relate to that subject matter, not all that he knew. If Prabhupada had spoken all that he had known, probably none of us would have, most of us would have not been able to comprehend what was going on. So one aspect of it, because what question you are putting, that I should not be such a candidate, what I will have to do it, I want to answer that first, because we are also nowadays regularly speaking, we are becoming, public speakers. So we are walking on a very tight rope, and it's important for us to constantly, regularly monitor, am I speaking within my boundaries? 10% plus minus is understandable, but I cannot suddenly, start crying and rolling on the floor and do some sort of acrobatics, which probably might attract some audience, but I may be exposed very soon. This is one aspect of it for the self. But for the other person, or to identify, in general, a person who is a fake, his identity will be exposed very soon. Very soon, from the perspective that if he does not align, liaise, or propagate or associate with his spiritual predecessor or spiritual authorities, and try to whimsically do something, so probably very soon that person will be exposed. And sometimes you will if the students are very sincere, Krishna reveals certain jalak, because In this process, both speaker and the audience, they are not just mechanically meeting each other. They are meeting each other because of some divine intervention. I have a curiosity, inquisitiveness to hear. Somebody has the curiosity, inquisitiveness, and surrender to speak. So we are coming together, and our sincerity can never be challenged by a fake one. So Krishna makes necessary arrangement to shield us or reveal that person's mistakes. So Krishna also participates, but our guidelines should be to see if that person, when he is speaking about the subject matter, in his personal conduct, in his personal life, in his personal association, how much he is aligned with all of them. So that is generally revealed. That is why in spiritual life, there is always a gestation period for us to before we conclude on anything. Nothing is expected. Only one thing is expected immediately, which is respect. Independent of whether that person is fake or real or whoever that is, we can always be respectful. According to Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Caitanya Sikshamrita, even a cannibal is supposed to be respected. So from that perspective, one aspect for which we need not even worry is independently, invariably respect everyone. To follow them, to obey them, to apply his instruction in his life, we need not jump into conclusion. We can, for initiation, there is a gestation period. For a disciple to choose a spiritual master, for a spiritual master to conclude a disciple. In a relationship, to make somebody a counselor, there is a gestation period. The gestation period is only meant to see, not that I heard one lecture, I saw his hair standing on the end. He had all transcendental Ashtaba, Sattvika Bhava. So probably, he is my authority, and next day I get to see that, he's a rascal. So there's a problem. And this is exactly what Bhaktivinoda Thakur did. If you read Bhaktivinoda Thakur's journey, he traveled the entire Gauda Desh, entire Bengal, different region, and found out 13 different Apasampradayas. And his agenda of doing that was, many people, the same question that you had, people in the garb of a devotee trying to cheat the masses, owl, bowl, like that. There are plenty of lists that he has, and he's defining how they are in the garb of a devotee, is trying to criticize. And the third aspect of it is, as a critical Siddhanta point, I'm sure you would have heard in different lectures. One is Shraddha, second is Swabhava. If you are able to measure somebody's Shraddha is at its peak or at its genuinity, if his Swabhava has not changed, you can still count that person's emotions. If that person's Shraddha is weak and Swabhava is, kind of, like a Paramahamsa, it is risky. It is not compatible. So that is something that you can easily recognize as a fake one. Because a person's Shraddha is very, very poor and his Swabhava is, kind of like a Saint Goswami, it is, highly unlikely that that combination is possible. So hence, we measure everybody's Shraddha. That is why even amongst our congregation, we are not associating with each other based on somebody's Swabhava. Because Swabhava may take its own time to change because of our extended conditioning. But Shraddha is our endeavor. The more we put in our Shraddha, the more we are able to progress. So if I know, Priti Vilasini Mataji is Shraddhalu, Sukhasagari Mataji is Shraddhalu, Vishwanath Prabhuji is Shraddhalu, so-and-so Prabhuji is Shraddhalu, that is good enough for us to associate, and we can ignore certain hiccups, some, apparent childish behavior. Knowing that our child is going to the college, sometimes he can be over-enthusiastic. So we can ignore them because Shraddha is intact. At least pollution will not happen. So those are all my three, reflections on this. I mean, making some sense.
Yes, a lot of sense. Thank you. I'm just writing this. Forgive me.
No problem.
Mataji, I'm making you wait also. Just one thing. So if this is our, like for example, you spoke about Shraddha Swabha. Now coming to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when he first saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri temple, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was exhibiting all the symptoms of ecstasy simultaneously, and then he trains, and then he takes Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya takes a cotton swab to check if he's still living, and then he realizes, he sees that there is a bleeding near the abdomen, and he comes to the point that of realizing that, he doesn't see the bleeding in the abdomen, and whatever the technicality is, he puts a cotton swab and he sees bleeding. So he comes to the realization that this is not an ordinary person. This person is exhibiting symptoms of an eternal associate, like not an ordinary jiva. And then he takes him home after the bhoga offering is done for Jagannath. So how did Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, in one sense, who is a great scholar but yet has Mayavadi understanding, what was where is his understanding coming from? Is it from Shastras, knowledge from Shastras, or is it from experience, exposure? How would you classify it? How did he know the Shraddha of Mahaprabhu? So linking this to that past time, I wanted to understand how did seeing through Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's eyes, yeah. So any comments?
I will draw a parallel to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's scenario to Srila Prabhupada's life. Okay. How did hippies recognize Prabhupada, and how did Prabhupada recognize hippies? It's a very funny comparison, but it's a very important point that I want to drive home. Hippies did not understand what Prabhupada, the earlier devotees or earlier students of Srila Prabhupada, they did not know what Srila Prabhupada was speaking. But they had two things. One, they saw Swamiji is not here for his agenda. Number two, Swamiji is loving us. He is helping us. It is explained that a devotee glorifying another devotee, a devotee glorifying Krishna, both of them are glorious. But a demon glorifying another devotee, a demon glorifying Krishna is further extraordinary, establishes the extraordinary nature of the Lord, but he still counted as a demon because he doesn't surrender. The differentiation between a demon and a devotee is, we get to see sometimes demon glorifying Vaishnavas, glorifying Krishna, but he doesn't surrender to them. Like Kamsa. Kamsa, when Vasudev, when he said, I will give my child to you, Kamsa glorifies Vasudev, saying that you are a gentleman. I know you are a very good devotee. So Kamsa appreciates, in the eyes of Kamsa, Vasudev's credibility is high, which means even a demon knows the other person is good. He doesn't surrender because of his other rascaldom. So my point is that generally purity attracts. The nature of Krishna consciousness is such that it is not just a mechanical external. Even in our materialistic context, they say love at first sight, or sometimes the immediate heart-to-heart connection, all those buzzwords that are being spoken among the common public. There is some 2% reality there, because there is something beyond bodily things that if it happens, you are naturally drawn, and especially purity attracts. So when Srila Prabhupada when I am genuinely seeking for some love, and Srila Prabhupada is purely giving love, so he is able to, able to recognize that this person is the ideal candidate to help me. This is one aspect of it, as a drawing parallel. Another aspect of it, look at the scholars whom Srila Prabhupada attracted. Swarup Damodar Goswami, Apna Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, Sadabhuta Prabhu, Drutakarma Prabhu, and all those scholars, they got attracted to Srila Prabhupada's scholarly, wonderful simplicity. He's scholarly and simplicity. So another aspect where, so your knowledge attracts a person, beauty attracts a person, renunciation attracts a person, name attracts a person, fame attracts a person, wealth attracts a person. So a person getting attracted to the Supreme Lord could be any one of them. The last aspect of it is, if I can, say this, is that at times the Lord chooses his students through him, through whom he wants to teach. So it is that our great, the Prabhu who, what is his name? our Rath-yatra Prabhu, the day before Narsingha Chaturdashi. Help me. What is his name? Jayananda Prabhu. Jayananda Prabhu chose those, so-called gundas. I mean, those whom nobody wanted to touch, nobody wants to preach, nobody wants to go closer. So sometimes even to, present the glory of Krishna consciousness, Nityananda Prabhu chose Jagai and Madai. Jayananda Prabhu chose those so-called, very tough people. I would use the very tough people as a softer word, but they were much worse. And when they came and cried, when they came and exhibited the glories of their association with Jayananda Prabhu, that establishes. So all the three aspects are true. The Lord chooses. So in case of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, we knew who he was in Krishna Leela. So there needs to be some Leela where their matching has to happen. So Lord chooses. So sometimes we don't know how, but he is chosen. He is handpicked candidate. He is picked up and he is put in the place because he is meant to be serving. He is needed to be serving the mission. So all the three aspects are, are true. There may be many more dimensions to this, but these are all something I could comprehend.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very, very interesting. Very nice. Thanks for the detailed answer.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful class. Very nice reflections which you said. Sukashagri Mataji, please go ahead.
Hi Krishna Prabhuji, Danvar Pranam, very, very beautiful class Prabhuji. And I was just going to add something, but I'm not sure now it makes any sense. Is it okay to...
Go ahead.
Sorry, Prabhuji?
It will make sense, so please add.
Yeah, I was wondering, like when Preeti was asking the question, some people have those divine experiences, and what I've heard, from some devotees who've had such experiences was they checked with their Guru Maharaj and also senior authorities to, to actually understand if it's, it's not something they're just imagining, and, if there's authenticity to it. And then the senior devotees, they confirm that such a thing, they also experienced it and such things really happen. So I thought, it helps if there are any such symptoms, or we may have some transcendental experiences. When I say we, maybe the advanced devotees may have, and they usually check with their gurus and acharyas like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, one bhajan when done with all questions.
Sure.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam, please. One Vaishnav song. And your album also sat with us.
I will give the album.
In a Bhakti Sanga.
I will. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so we will sing one bhajans. Kali Kukura Kadam Jadi Chaho He Kali Kukura Kadam. I will just share the link so that everyone can follow also. I'm sharing the link for everyone to... Oh, I sang that already, huh? So I'll sing something else then. Udila Aruna, is it okay? Did I sing that before?
Yes, Prabhu. Anything is fine, Prabhu.
Sukasagari Mataji is making some choices, so I thought...
okay. Shukashagri Mataji? Yeah, sure, Prabhu. She has told sure.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. No. I have few wonderful devotees in the Bhakti Sanga who keeps checking my philosophical acumen and Kirtan acumen. So I'm I am definitely, blessed to have such a Sangha, so that Preeti Vilasini Mataji keeps checking me around if this guy is, still sane enough. And, so that's okay.
Not that way, Prabhu. It's just that
No,
I
I'm
learned.
just pulling.
No,
I'm okay, I'm sure.
I learned, so that's the only thing. Thank you so much.
Udilo aruna purababage Dvijamani Gauramani Jate Udilo aruna purababage Dvijamani Gauramani Jage Bhakta Samuha Loya Sate Gelanagar Braje Bhakta Samuha Loya Sate Gelanagar Braje Tatai Tatai Bajal Kol Gana Gana Tahe Jajer Rol प्रेम ढला ढला सोनारंगा चरणे नूपुर बाजे मुकुंद माधव यादव हरि बोले ना बोलो रे वदन बोरी मीचे निधा बाशे गेलो रे राती दिवाशा सारी रसाजे ए मन दुर्लभ मानव देहो पाया की करो भावना के हो ए बिना बाजिले यशोदा सुता चरमे पोरी भेला जे उदित तापना होइले आस्ता दीना गेलो बोली होइबे व्यस्ता तबे के नो एबे अलस होए ना बज हृदय राजे जीवन नित्य जान हसार ताहे नाना विध विपद भार नामाश्रया कोरी जातने तुमी ता कहा पण काजे जीवेर कल्याण साधन काम जगते आशिये मधुर नाम अविद्यातिमिरा तापन रूपे हृद्गगणे विराजे कृष्ण नाम सुधा कोरियपान जूरा कति विनोद प्राण नाम बिना किचु नाही को नारो 14 भुवन माजे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय गौर निताय जय गौरानिताय जय पंचतत्वा जय पंचतत्वा जय पंचतत्वा Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. When the rising sun appeared in the east, the jewel of the twice born Lord Gaurasundara awakened, and taking his devotees with him, he went all over the countryside, towns and villages. The mridanga's call resounded, tatai, tatai, and the jhanja, the large metal kartals that looked like small cymbals in that kirtana, played in time. Lord Gauranga's golden form slightly trembled in ecstatic love of Godhead, and his foot bells jingled. All the devotees chanted the names Mukunda, Madhava, Yadava, and Hari, their mouths being filled with vibrations. They would announce to the still sleeping people, you spend your nights uselessly sleeping and your days decorating your bodies. You have achieved such a rare human body, but you do not care for this gift. You remain not serving the darling of Yashoda and slowly fall through your last moments to death. With every rising and settling of the sun, a day passes and is lost. Then why do you remain idle and not serve the Lord of the heart? This temporary life is full of various miseries. Take shelter of the holy name as your only business. To penetrate the darkness of ignorance and bless everyone's heart, the holy name has risen like the shining sun. Drink the pure nectar of the holy name of Krishna. There is nothing but the name to be had in the 14 worlds. It has filled the soul of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakura. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Shri Gaurnita Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. What a wonderful bhajan. Thank you. It is very relishing after the class to hear some bhajans like this. Thank you so much. So with your permission, we can end the call here, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Mancha kalpatrupasya kripa sindhu peva chapatitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His grace, Rāmagiridhāri Prabhuji ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Koti Koti Dandavat
Prabhuji,
Pranam.
wonderful.
Very
Jai
nice
Srila
bhajan
Prabhupada.
you sang.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So
Thank you so
fine
much, Prabhuji.
reflection.
Wonderful class.
Hari Bol, Dandavat Pranam.